In BT and its applications, we are looking at another issue which is termed as biopiracy. The meaning of the term biopiracy stems from a variation with relation to knowledge and resources in the world. When you take developed countries like USA, UK and other advanced countries, all the developed countries are rich countries. They are associated with lot of multinational companies. So, developed countries which have got lot of multinational companies have got high technology. They have high technology, they have high finance, they are biotechnologically rich. Technologically they are extremely rich, but they are poor in terms of biodiversity, in terms of nature and nature's goods, and they are poor with relation to traditional knowledge. They do not have a traditional knowledge and their biological resources are very, very poor. So, their bioresources are extremely poor, but they are biotechnologically they are extremely rich because of their high technology. So, we have on one side we have that sort of a developing countries. Second, when we come to poor countries or developing countries, especially like India or China, or even if you take South America. The poor countries or developing countries like India, China and South America, we are biodiversity very, very rich. We have lot of variety and variability of the germ plasm. We have the highest plant diversity in terms of medicinal plants. If you take right from the Himalayas till the end of South India, from Western Ghats to the Eastern Ghats to Rajkot to northeastern regions, we have a very high range of biological diversity in terms of plants, animals and microbes. So, when we take the poor countries, all are biologically diverse, we are very, very rich, but however, we are very poor in terms of biotechnology. Now, if you look at the traditional knowledge, traditional knowledge is also termed as indigenous knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is the knowledge which has been accumulated through the ages. We know right from the Ramayana and Mahabharata, we have lot of rishis who exactly know about Ayurveda, homeopathy, and we know everything about medicinal plants. So, this is termed as traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge comes from the wisdom of the people, of the communities, linked to their culture and values. You take the simple situation of neem and turmeric. Neem and turmeric have been the state trees and the state tree of Andhra Pradesh. And you even take the case of basmati rice. If you take turmeric, grandmother's use of turmeric, neem, basmati rice, and if you look at bitter gourd, which has got anti-diabetic principles, and recently we had a Nobel Prize wherein we understand people are fighting out whether the cure for malaria has come from plant products which belongs to India. So, the knowledge of all the medicinal plants have been in our communities, it has been ingrained in our culture as well as in our sort of a values. So, given the sort of a polarity between the developed countries as well as the developing countries, in terms of we being rich with relation to bioresources, our bioresources are extremely high and our biodiversity is extremely high. These are the plus points of the developing countries which are on either side of the equator, that is the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Now, many a time there has not been a proper authentication of the bioresources, and many a time we do not have proper authorization of the bioresources. Because there is no proper authorization, because we have never documented our resources, it has only been through the test of oral testimony, because we have never authorized thereby many of the times the developing countries tend to exploit our resources and take away our resources. So, taking away the natural resource, bioresource, or the biodiversity rich resources of any particular country is termed as biopiracy. So, the instances of biopiracy was when America had taken up rice and they had bred with a local variety and called it as Texan basmati rice. The Texan basmati rice, which has been taken by USA, was challenged in the Indian Code of Law, and we have again proved that by DNA fingerprinting as well as by means of profiling of the DNA, we had proved that basmati rice has originated from India. Thereby, we seem to be fighting different sort of legal battles in terms of the conservation of turmeric, conservation of neem, conservation of bitter gourd, and conservation of all other sort of natural products. Now, what are the benefits of when you have lot of bioresources? All bioresources should primarily be linked to traditional knowledge. It should be linked to communities. Communities should get the benefit. Supposing we have medicinal plants are grown somewhere in a sort of a community in the Western Ghats. The import and the export of the medicinal plants and the cultivation of the medicinal plants, the history of the medicinal plants, the entire add value of benefit sharing should go to the sort of a community which is rearing those particular medicinal plants and conserving the medicinal plants in sacred groves. So, it is very, very important that they should have benefit sharing. Now, this polarity between the developed and the developing countries and the concept of biopiracy is against a sort of it's a violation against a principle which is called trade with relation to intellectual property rights, which is termed as TRIPS. Thereby, now as a sort of a precautionary measure or as a sort of a safeguard measure or for the sake of benefit sharing with relation to communities, the Indian Patent Law, the Indian Patent Bill has made a sort of a second amendment. Now, what is the second amendment of the Indian Patent Bill? The second amendment of the Indian Patent Bill says they can provide emergency provisions. We can provide emergency provisions, we can release certain provisions as a sort of an emergency for both for research in the lab as well as for development and initiative at the place from where you get your sort of a bioresources, so that it is a sort of so that the people are protected, so that the community is protected and the plant and the gene is protected and the country of origin can exactly fight the claim and it can primarily file a sort of a patent against biopiracy. So, when we are talking about biopatents is nothing but a sort of an official right. Now, next we will be looking very briefly into what do you exactly mean by the term biopatent.